Hey guys, it's Mr. Zach here. We have a really awesome mason jar experiment we're going to do this week. So all we need for this one is just water, ice cubes, salt, and then if you want it, just a little bit of food coloring. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some ice cubes and we're going to add them to our jar here. You can add as many as you want. You just want to leave a little bit of space in your jar so that you can mix things up. Okay, and then in my little cup here, I have just a little bit of water. The experiment calls for about a tablespoon. I don't know that you have to measure it that exact. I just have a little bit here and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. You want just a little bit of water. You don't need much. Alright, so now that we got our water in there, we're going to add just a drop of food coloring. It makes it easier to kind of see the results of our experiment when we're all done. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a drop or two. Now we'll do one more. Okay. So now that we've added our food coloring and our water, here's the most important ingredient. We're going to sprinkle in some salt. Alright. Now that we've added in our salt, we're going to make sure we screw our top on here real good. Okay. It's really on there. And now we're going to shake it for about a minute. Alright, it might be a little loud. So once I'm done shaking it, we'll come back and we'll see what we have. Alright guys, we're finally done with shaking our glass. Full disclosure, this experiment actually took me a few different tries to get it right. So one of the things that I didn't realize after doing a little bit more research, because the glass wasn't freezing up the right way, was that you do need actually about a ½ inch layer of salt to get the temperature, the freezing point of the ice cold enough to form the frost. One of the things that I did is I even shook it. You want to let it rest for a little bit because the frost isn't going to form instantaneously. So you want to let it rest, and then during one of the trials I even put it in the freezer for about an hour, and that helped to get a little bit of the frost to come up. The whole point of the experiment is to do it without the freezer, obviously, but sometimes experiments don't work out the way that we want them to, and that's just part of the scientific process. So you can see here, after a few different tries, I was able to get my glass to form some really cool frost here. You can scrape it off with my finger there. And that happens because, like I said, the salt is supposed to lower the freezing or the melting point of ice, so that liquid that's forming in your jar is really, really cold. And when something inside the jar is really, really cold and the air outside the jar is warm, what happens is it forms condensation on the outside of the jar, and because the jar is so cold, it instantly freezes into frost. So obviously we had to go through a few different hoops and hurdles to get our frost to form. So don't feel bad if it doesn't work out for you guys, but I would still try it. Who knows, maybe you'll get better results than I did. So that was our experiment for this week. I'll see you guys next time for another Make It Wednesday. We'll be doing another mason jar experiment.